Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Rare Wellness Podcast, the podcast designed to help you heal holistically and give you the tools that you need to thrive. We're making it easy to understand wellness and medicine with practical steps from the experts, one podcast at a time. The only thing that we ask is that if this episode helps you live just a little bit better and more aligned, that you'll leave us a review and share it with a friend. That's all we ask so that we can continue to provide you with free, valuable knowledge from the experts of well-being. Today, we're having one of my favorite guests to have on this podcast, girlie, the nurse lead at Rare Wellness. I absolutely adore talking to you, and I'm so excited to have you back on the podcast.
Oh, Nat, I love you. Thank you. I love talking with you.
Honestly, every time we have one of these podcasts, I just not just the podcast, in real life too, I just have the best time talking to you. So I'm excited for more laughs, and it's going to be a good time today.
Yeah, I think so too.
We've done a couple different podcasts now at this point. We've talked about beauty. We've talked about skincare. We've talked about age jet. We've talked about some new treatments, a lot of the basics. But something that we've touched about in previous episodes that we haven't talked a lot about is injectables. Yeah. I know that for a lot of people listening to this podcast, you're like, well, Nat, girlie, guys, isn't this podcast supposed to be holistic? Isn't this about the most natural way you can heal yourself? And here's the thing, girlies and everyone listening. The question that we're asking today is, can you love holistic natural medicine? Can you love holistic treatments? Can you love yoga and still love injectables and Botox? And girlie, you'll have to tell me your answer, but I'm here to say the answer is yes, that there are no rules to how you have to live your life and what you love doing. And if it's something that genuinely aligns with you and makes you happy, and of course, like the way that we approach things, which if you've listened to any of the episodes, you know that like our philosophy is to bring out your natural beauty, to enhance what you already have, and to do it from a place where you feel good, not out of comparison. But if that's something that you want to go for, absolutely. I don't know, girlie, what do you think?
I 200% agree. I think that, again, just going back to, there's a stigma around so much. And I think when we talk about health and wellness and beauty and anything else, it has to do with, mind, body, and soul. And you can't really have it all without, there could be like a missing link, right? So, yeah, and especially in a space like this where I really learned how to have an appreciation for yoga. I did it, before, but being in a space like this where we can combine all these amazing treatments and personalities and just some of like the best people that I've ever met. And it's really like a whole approach 100%. To everything. So,
yeah. Well, I know one of my favorite memories is being in bar class together and just getting our butts whooped. I didn't ever realize like how hard, this is such a side tangent, but I didn't realize how hard bar can be until I did a class at Rare Wellness. And I don't know if you remember, Jared, but there was some class where we would just like look at each other and like die because
it's so hard.
So hard. Yeah.
And I feel like total transparency. I mean, that's kind of what you get with me all the time, but it's hard. Every time I go in, I'm like, yeah, I got this. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And sweet Carla or whoever's teaching the class, they're like, where's your breath? I'm like, it is not breathing.
Like there is no breathing.
No.
Halfway through, I'm like, why did I sign up? I come in thinking like, wow, I'm so strong. I ended up leaving being like, I am not an athlete. I'm not. So
good workout.
Shameless plug, guys. If you're in the Spokane/Coeur d'Alene area, check out Rare Wellness. They have the best intimate yoga studio, like 5 to 6 people in a class. It's like semi-private, but really encouraging environment. Any level is welcome, but it's really like the teachers allowing you to make sure that you have like great integrity of like your posture so that you don't injure yourself, and really being able to give you those individualized attention so that you can achieve your goals. So totally different than what we're talking about today, but that's where girlie and I practice. So shameless plug, go check them out, rarewellness.com. So let's dive right into it. Today, we're going to be talking about what different injectable options are. Maybe some of us like myself, I just was never really educated on Botox and injections and learning about the differences between them.
Yeah.
Botox is not the only thing that's offered, and I didn't really understand the difference between different injections. So I'm really, really, really excited to pick your brain on all of this. So let's go ahead and start with Botox. What is it? How does it work? What does it treat?
So Botox it's injected into the muscles.
Okay.
It's a neuromodulator, which basically just means it puts your muscles in a temporary timeout so that you can't, use them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great because it's started with, therapeutic use, if we really go back to it. And of course, we love to find other uses for it. So it's a great thing to have and to utilize. I think I don't want to say it's a gateway, but it kind of can
It's your
be because if
gateway
you're
drug.
yeah, if you're curious about, injectables and things like that, it's kind of a nice thing to start with. And again, if it's done properly and if it's utilized the way it's supposed to be, really nice, results, and
Yeah.
it can soften fine lines, and it can keep our muscles from, contracting. So it keeps those static lines from forming,
Yeah.
basically.
So
And
let's go back to the where you said it started out with therapeutic slash medical use. Like what like I've heard Botox can help with certain people who have migraines. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
right, yep, migraines and cervical dystonia. I think a lot of practices use it also for triceps. I mean, really anywhere for therapeutic use. And it's such an amazing product to be able to utilize for those purposes because it's,
Right.
very effective. And, more recently, not super recently, but, we started using it for more cosmetic reasons.
Yeah.
And it's super fun.
Today's podcast is brought to you by the Premium Center for Regenerative Medicine and Stem Cell Therapy in the Northwest, Northwest Center for Regenerative Medicine. Get back to the activities that you love without needing surgery. You can book your appointment at nwc4rm.com. Again, that's nwc4rm.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Rare Wellness Supplements. You can head over to rareplanethealth.com to get your supplements. My personal favorite is the premium fish oil filled with omega-3s. Again, you can go to rareplanethealth.com and get the supplements that you most need to support your health and wellness today. Lastly, this podcast is also brought to you by Rare Wellness. Rare Wellness is located on the South Hill in Spokane and is one center that provides all the wellness tools that you could need. Whether you're looking for a hands-on premium intimate yoga studio with a therapeutic emphasis, bar classes, Tai Chi classes, if you're looking for skincare treatments, injectable, hydrofacial, microneedling, organic spa treatments, if you're wanting to get therapeutic massage or book functional medicine appointments to get down to the root cause of your inflammation, Rare Wellness is the place for you. Whatever your wellness needs are, they have it covered. So to book your appointment today, go to rarewellness.com. Again, go to rarewellness.com and mention this podcast for 10% off when you're booking. Okay, time to get back to the episode. So I know that there is some stigma around Botox.
Yeah.
And some people are under the perception that if you get Botox, it means that you're going to look super fake. Your face is going to look disoriented. Touch on that. Is that true?
No. And I have patients probably, not every day, but super often. And whether they're naive to Botox or maybe they've had it done once before, they're wanting to do, a different treatment or something. But so often I have them say, okay, girlie, I'm really interested in Botox, but, I don't want to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, I'm like, okay, listen, we're not going to do that, first of all, but also if we see that, which yes we do because we have access to social media, but they've had more than Botox, and there's a lot of treatments out there that aren't even injectables that we can do that can lift and tighten the face maybe more than we need, but that's not Botox. So Botox kind of gives the effect of if after your first treatment and it sets in, it should be like, gosh, Nat, you look so refreshed. Are you
Me?
using like a new moisturizer? You know what I
Oh,
mean? So,
oh, you're saying if I got the okay, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, I thought you were just telling me I looked refreshed, and I was like, wow,
I mean,
you do.
you look at everything all the time, but it should be one of those
Yeah.
things that nobody really knows,
Mm.
and they're just like, wow, there's something different. What is it? So it's
It's
not super noticeable, and I think that's a common misperception that people have with Botox.
it's reminding me of that social media sound on Reels and TikTok that goes, "They're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're
Yeah,
gonna know." I don't know if I don't know if you've seen it, but for
yeah,
everyone listening, if you've heard it, like that's kind of what it's reminding me of. I love that. So
yeah,
with Botox, then, do you like? Can it be used as a preventative treatment?
absolutely. Yes, I love Botox for preventative. People a lot of times ask like, "Oh, what's the earliest age you can get Botox?" I don't think it's really about age. I mean, there are definitely, my young 20 somethings that have, inquired about it, and I'm just honest. Is it really necessary yet? Probably not.
Hmm.
But everybody's muscles move differently, so it's an honest conversation. And if I'm like, you know what, I see your concern, and what's happening, and yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it would be beneficial, you know,
Well,
for
and
for
it goes back to what we've talked about so many times before, but that skincare and just health in general, regardless of whether we're talking about skin or we're talking about like your hormone levels or whatever area of health we're looking into, it's individualized and it should be treated as such, right? So it's like if I've spent every single day of my entire life outside in the sun, just like roasting with no sunscreen and like just raw dogging life, like maybe it might be useful. Like my skin may have aged more than someone who's taken really good care of it. So like you said, I love that when you look at these and answering some of these questions that people have, it's not a one size fits all, like, well, everyone needs to start at this age or everyone, it like depends on your skin and your health, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And dosing is always different too. FDA can say, XYZ and different, uh, like whether it's Allergan or Galderma, or, we all have, there's different units and dosaging amounts that you can safely use, like per the FDA. But, it's all very specific. And, normally you go off of like the muscle movement and what I see. And
So how long does Botox usually last?
Botox Cosmetic lasts for about 3 months, is what they say. Or it can safely be injected every 3 months. I have patients that, can maybe only come in every 4 to 5 months, or, they come in every 6 months, but the most effective treatments are done every 3 months.
So everyone knows about Botox, even if they're not into injectables. Botox is something that everybody and their mom has heard about, but there's so many other options, and let's talk about them. What are some of our other options?
There's a lot of different, it's always based off of what is the concern, like what are we targeting, what are we treating. Botox is great, like we just said, for placing those muscles in a temporary timeout, so it keeps us from contracting and forming unwanted and making unwanted facial lines on our face. But there are other things like Sculptra, and I use a lot of Sculptra here, and I love it because it stimulates natural collagen in the skin, and it aligns with everything I love. And it is basically something called poly L-lactic acid. So when it's injected deep into the skin, it again stimulates natural collagen. It gives a nice glow to the skin as well, and it helps add volume. And it can be injected, like mid face, back here, and it just kind of helps, honestly, tighten a little bit to add volume and stimulates collagen. And it's amazing because it's not a filler, and it's just another way to naturally enhance.
So, Sculpture versus Botox, which one is more natural?
That's a really good question, but they both do two different things.
Okay.
So Botox, again, is injected into muscles, where Sculptra stimulates collagen.
So, how do you decide which injectable to use? Like, how do you know which one you need?
Well, it always is based off of what my patient is concerned with. if someone is asking me, I have this really deep set line, here, and I see it here, and, wherever, that would be Botox. Easy.
Yeah.
It softens everything. And, there's a great way to use it. And if somebody else is saying, you know what, I have this, laxity here, or I feel like my face is just getting, really sallow, or, whatever, I always go to Sculptra first
Mm.
before I even talk about any other filler.
Yeah. Well, so now that we've talked about Sculptra and we've brought up fillers, let's dive into fillers. What are they? Why do we even use them?
Fillers are amazing if they're used, again, properly, and there's a great time and a place for them.
Mm-hmm.
They are made from hyaluronic acid, which our body produces naturally anyway. So, in that sense, they're very safe. And if they're injected correctly, they're very safe. Fillers are meant to add volume or, structure to different areas on the face. So, it's not usually my first go to. Like I said, I usually like to start with Sculptra or something like that. But fillers are great because they are able to, add volume and you get an instant result.
Yeah.
Where with, Sculptra and stuff, it's built up over time because it's your body producing collagen.
So Botox versus Sculptra versus fillers, where do they go on the face?
Good question. Botox, well, Botox can honestly go anywhere. They're in a muscle. So typically the most like standard treatment for Botox, I will just say, is usually, this area here. It treats this procerus muscle. We have two muscles above our brows called corrugators that draw everything in. So we do treatment here, and then we usually just treat the forehead. And then we always do like a little treatment around the eyes to get those smile lines that we love. But Botox can be used, along the jawline. It can be used in our masseters, which is therapeutic, but also cosmetic because it softens the jawline. And for people that grind their teeth, they get really good relief from that. So you can use Botox in the chin. You can use it in your bunny lines. You can use it above the lip. You can put it in a lot of places.
I love that. So that's
Yeah.
Botox. And then Sculptra.
Sculptra is usually injected temples,
Okay.
which is great because it adds volume, because we do get volume loss here as we age. And then mid face, and again, along here,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes, along the jawline as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then fillers
fillers can be injected in a lot of the same areas as Sculptra, not the same technique, but typically we use fillers again to add, structure to the mid face and volume, because over time, these like wonderful fat pads that we have like to slip down. So we add a little structure and volume there. It can be injected into the lips, which we love. It can be injected into the chin. There are some fillers that act as, I would say, liquid bone, right? That's just a common term that we use a lot in education and stuff. So to help build out more structure.
Today's podcast is brought to you by the Premium Center for Regenerative Medicine and Stem Cell Therapy in the Northwest Center for Regenerative Medicine. Get back to the activities that you love without needing surgery. You can book your appointment at nwc4rm.com. Again, that's nwc4rm.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Rare Wellness Supplements. You can head over to rareplanethealth.com to get your supplements. My personal favorite is the premium fish oil filled with omega-3s. Again, you can go to rareplanethealth.com and get the supplements that you most need to support your health and wellness today. Lastly, this podcast is also brought to you by Rare Wellness. Rare Wellness is located on the South Hill in Spokane and is one center that provides all the wellness tools that you could need. Whether you're looking for a hands-on premium intimate yoga studio with a therapeutic emphasis, bar classes, Tai Chi classes, if you're looking for skincare treatments, injectable, hydrofacial, microneedling, organic spa treatments, if you're wanting to get therapeutic massage or book functional medicine appointments to get down to the root cause of your inflammation, Rare Wellness is the place for you. Whatever your wellness needs are, they have it covered. So to book your appointment today, go to rarewellness.com. Again, go to rarewellness.com and mention this podcast for 10% off when you're booking. Okay, time to get back to the episode. Yeah, and for everyone listening, if you are listening to this podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts and you want to see a visual of what Girlie is talking about, go ahead and check out our YouTube and subscribe there as well. There's certain episodes that you may want to watch video version of. So if you do, they're on there so that you can see exactly what we were talking about there. Just really quickly, let's hit on PRP, which we've talked about before, plasma-rich platelets, for anyone who hasn't heard. And side note, be sure to go check out the previous episode about regenerative medicine and platelets and all of the things that that can do for your body. So go check that out. But now we're going to talk about it in a beauty perspective. So what is PRP? What are the differences between that and Sculptra? And why do we use those together to benefit one another, and like where can we safely inject them? Let's go through all of it.
Okay. PRP, I love platelet rich plasma. Again, it's your own. It's you. It's your blood being spun down into, platelet rich plasma, and it can be safely injected just about anywhere. We love to use it again, kind of mid-face. You can typically inject it in the same way we inject Sculptra. It's used for a lot of the same purposes. However, Sculptra is not safe to inject in the tear troughs. So for patients that have, dark circles or just some, sallowness that comes with life, we can use PRP there, and it helps with texture. It helps with some of that darkness and just kind of brightens everything. Those growth factors are amazing. Yeah. So again, stimulating collagen and all of that as well. So
just like really exciting. And again, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, again, if you're into holistic living, what is more natural than injecting your own body back into your own body to optimize your skin health?
Yeah.
Literally nothing. Like it is so incredible that technology has advanced to be able to do this. And it's also really cool that Rare offers this, because I feel like it's a treatment that is harder to find in just like your average place. So if you guys are interested in learning more, booking a consultation, feel free to go to rarewellness.com and you'll be able to book a free appointment with Girlie there. So anyway, there's that. And let's talk about layering treatments. So let's say someone does come and book a consultation with you to see what is best for their skin.
Every consultation is always different, and like, again, I keep saying it's always based off of, exactly what my patients are asking about, what they're inquiring about, what their concerns are. So for me, it always starts with healthy skin. I literally say that to every patient. I talk about it all the time. So layering treatments absolutely makes sense. And if somebody is coming in asking or concerned with, fine lines, laxity, texture, all the things that most of us were probably concerned about at some point, or here the weather gets really cold and our skin gets dehydrated and, all that fun stuff. So layering treatments is imperative. And now we have access to some really amazing things. I love the fact that we have Age Jet, and it is now one of the first things that we talk about. Microneedling is amazing. Vampire facials are fantastic for maintenance and stimulating natural collagen and elastin. And so let's say a patient, is concerned with fine lines, laxity, scarring even. And then there, a lot of people talk about these fine lines above our lips, which we call smoker's lines. You can have them even if you don't smoke. So the first step would always be to do something that builds up the integrity of the skin. And I'm not just talking about, your skincare at home, which is super important, but a laser treatment, starting with something like Age Jet, because it's going to make a huge difference in the laxity, the texture of the skin. And so that would be the first thing I would do.
Right.
And then we could talk about, even a little bit of Botox around the lips. We can do something called a lip flip, which is fantastic. And chances are, if we start with the laser treatment and even a little bit of Botox, filler might not even be necessary, or we'll have to use less to get the results we want. So I always start with, what's going to make the skin the healthiest first.
No, I absolutely love it. And for those of you guys listening who don't know what AgeJet is, you can check out previous episodes or go read about it on our website. But AgeJet is really incredible because it's able to give you really unreal results by stimulating your own natural, I might butcher this, so Girlie, you can help me fix this, but by really stimulating like your own body's collagen and elastin production, but without having any downtime. So you're able to get these incredible results without needing to, without like with the CO2 laser or other ways that you, or like a facelift or anything else that you do, like you can get incredible results, but it takes so much time and effort and downtime. And this is like painless, easy, fast, and it just stimulates your own body's healing properties. At least that's from what I understood. Did I butcher that?
No. Yeah, the really cool thing about AgeJet is that it uses plasma energy. So it's just heat energy, and it's non-ablative. So the heat is penetrated really deep into the skin, and there's no damage to the skin surface, basically, which is why there's such little heal time. There are, medium and high energy settings that we can use to where it's just, I don't want to say like a one and done, but you might do less treatments, but you will have a little more healing time, a little more sensitivity and redness. But the way that we usually do the treatments, it's very minimal. It's almost like having a microneedling treatment done, as far as, the way the skin might feel, because it feels a little bit tight and warm, but very comfortable.
Love it.
And amazing results.
Yeah. So, and it's incredible, like you were saying, being able to understand what these treatments are and being able to layer them. And, that's what I love about your consultations is like, and we've talked about this in previous episodes too, but one thing I love about your approach to beauty is that it's never about like everyone needs Botox or everyone needs Sculptra, everyone needs fillers. It's like you really have such a unique, personalized approach. And I really appreciate it, and how you know your treatments back and forth. Best aesthetic injector ever.
Thanks, Nat. Well, but I think I hope a lot of people kind of approach it that way, but I don't know how else to do it, because of my background in skincare and just my own battles that I've had with skin. It only makes sense to have a healthy canvas first before you add anything else to it. Yeah. So we have all of these amazing treatment options at our fingertips.
Yeah.
And it truly always just begins with healthy skin. I have patients that come in a lot for different treatments, and my words to them are always, I can do all of these wonderful things for you here, but if you are not taking care of your skin at home, it's like it's all for nothing. So having a good skincare routine is definitely key.
Such a bad parallel, but the first thing that came to mind, it's like going to the dentist once a year and expecting them to like fix your teeth for you when you're not like brushing and flossing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like it's the same thing with your skin, like going in and getting this incredible treatment done like once every 6 months or once every 3 months or once a year, and expecting it to undo the fact that you never moisturize at home, you never put sunscreen. I know, like
you're so right.
It doesn't work like that. Like, you want healthy skin, like you said, it comes down to your day-to-day habits. And for people listening to this podcast, since we're all about, like, this podcast is not just about beauty or just about functional medicine or just about sleep, it's about overall holistic living. I really think that this applies to every single area of your life. If you want good financial habits, like, you need to have good financial habits on a daily basis. At me with budgeting. But if you want to have a healthier mind, like, you need to practice thinking, rewiring your thoughts and rewiring your brain on a day-to-day basis. Like, if you want better teeth health, like, brush your teeth daily. Like, if you want better skincare, like, use that moisturizer, as Girlie says, exfoliate.
There it is.
exfoliate. Like, if you want to get better at yoga, like, get on your yoga mat, practice. If you want better gut health, like, start incorporating those those nutrients that you need, and do like creating habits that are going to be conducive to your hormonal balances and all of that stuff. So yeah, very passionate about this, but
yes. Good. That was great, Nat. That was perfect.
Thank you. I spend a lot of time now talking to different doctors and experts, and I am just realizing more and more that the best habits that you can, or what, how do I say this? Realizing that with every single expert that I talk to, whether it's you in skincare or Dr. Guthrie with functional medicine or Dr. O and Trisha and Dr. Stephanie, that we like everyone that we've had on, knowing all of this knowledge theoretically is great, but it's like what you do on a day-to-day basis, like that practical habit, which is why we end every episode with a practical habit. What is a practical tip that people can take with them today?
A practical tip. So, practical tip would be take care of your skin always and set up a consultation. Our consultations are free, and your skin should be just as much a priority as anything else that you take care of.
Right. You know, we go to the doctor yearly for a wellness check. We go to the dentist to check our teeth and our oral health. We check everything else. Why don't we take care of our skin the same way?
Yeah, we absolutely should.
Yeah. So, Skin Health 2024. Let's go, wellness girlies who also love injectables. There's nothing wrong with it. You belong here. You have a spot on the Real Wellness Podcast. And if it's not your thing, you're also welcome here. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's podcast. We always love talking to you guys. At least I do. Girlie, do you like talking?
I love talking with you, Nat. It's the highlight of my day. Every time.
Yeah. And, you know, for all of our listeners, I really feel like this really does get to be a little bit of a conversation, because for you guys to ask your questions and us getting to answer them on here is huge. So be sure to go to @RealWellness Podcast on Instagram and send in your questions that you want answered. And it doesn't matter what topic, does not matter what area of health, because we have had a wide variety of experts on here, and we're going to continue to have a wide variety of experts. So ask everything, whether it's your mental health questions or your more medical questions, or questions on women's health, or questions on beauty and skin, or yoga, or fitness, or chiropractic, like whatever it is, this is your spot. So go ahead and do that. And if this episode has helped you just learn a little bit more about wellness, medicine, beauty, anything, if you've learned anything at all, feel free to leave us a review wherever you listen to the podcast and share this with a friend. Tune in next week. We post a new episode every Friday. Girlie, do you have any last words for our listeners today?
I just love talking with you, Nat. You just make me smile.
Oh, you make me smile. Yay. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm excited to do it again. So thank you so much for being on one more time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Nat.
Yeah. Well, bye guys. See you next week.